keep one story separate from another, but I want you to cast your mind back now to what we were telling you just a little bit earlier about the efforts by two new groups of suspected terrorists using similar kinds of identification, carrying apparently similar kinds of weapons, to hijack two other planes, one leaving LaGuardia in New York and the other trying to leave JFK in New York. That happened earlier this evening, and when it did, one of the passengers, a man by the name of Jim Hunter, he was out of JFK aboard American Airlines Flight 133 bound for Los Angeles, and he came into the studio to talk to us a little bit later and tell us what happened while he and the other passengers were waiting for the plane to take off.
We were on at the gate for about 2 hours. We boarded about an hour late. It was a 4 o'clock flight. It was supposed to be the first flight on a regular scheduled basis for American to go out to LAX today. And we boarded about an hour late, and then we sat on the plane for about 2 hours, or maybe a bit more than that. And then near the end, the captain came on, was trying to make, walking through the aisles, trying to make everybody calm down. He was talking to me and a few other passengers and was asked forcibly by the his first mate or his other captain to go to the front of the plane.
The first officer.
Exactly. And at that point, he ultimately came back on the air and told everybody that we were going to go, and we were all very happy and feeling very good that we were going to be able to get home and see our families and stuff. But about 10 minutes later, the door was still open, which is unusual, and literally a few minutes after that, about 20 or more police officers, many in SWAT gear with large guns, all unholstered and looking down the aisles, screaming at everybody to go and hit the floor, and we all hit the floor. And meanwhile, there was a commotion going on behind me, about 4 or 5 rows behind me, where they were subduing a passenger. And he was definitely resisting and trying to fight off, but it was obviously worthless given how many policemen were on the airplane. And then 2 other passengers that were right in front of me were ultimately asked to go with authorities as well. They were taken to a galley, handcuffed, and then led off the plane from the front as well. So there was quite a bit of commotion, followed by dogs and looking for bombs and everything else before they would allow us to get off the plane.
Well, when you say allow you to get off the plane, no chance that plane was going to leave tonight. I guess you were all escorted off the plane. But let me just turn back to John Miller again for 1 second, because, John, this sounds so remarkably similar, almost identical to what we heard from the other passenger who was on the flight that was leaving from LaGuardia. I just want to be sure, we are talking about 2 different flights here.
No, I believe that he was on the same flight from Kennedy.
Okay, so this is a description then of what happened at the Kennedy flight. Do we know what happened at LaGuardia? Did police or SWAT teams board that plane, or were the arrests made before the men could even board that flight?
I don't have those details here.
All right, Mr. Hunter, are you still gonna try and fly to Los Angeles tomorrow, or have you had enough flying for a while?
I do actually have I'm booked on another flight to go home to San Francisco, where my family is, and I do obviously want to see my wife and kids, and so from that perspective, I am going to try to get home. The big question is we're relocating to New York now from San Francisco. I'm supposed to be permanently relocating in October, and so the question that my wife is asking me right now is, do we drive all the way across the country, or do we fly? And we'll have to figure that out over the next few weeks.
Yeah. I would like you just to give me a quick description of how you think the rest of the passengers reacted to all of this.
Very well. Everyone on the plane pretty much, was obviously shocked by the scene of the police rushing the plane and the screaming that was going on as the man was trying to resist arrest behind us. But everybody, listened to the situation. There was not a whole lot of crying or carrying on. Everybody was, reasonably calm. The woman that was sitting next to me had gone on the floor in pretty much a fetal position, and she was trying to stay as low. We were all getting as low to the ground as we could, just in case any shots were fired. And you know, it was somewhat unnerving, and we were shaking quite a bit. But the captain and the other, flight attendants came on board, that were on board, were very calming after the incident. And we were playing with the bomb dogs and things like that when the dogs were coming on board, and just trying to calm down.
It may seem trivial or irrelevant to be concerned with Hollywood at a time like this, but ABC's Brian Rooney reports that real-life terrorism has had an impact on the fiction at the film and television factories also.